Hi, this is Michael Becker, and in this Tinderbox lesson, we're going to do a simple gradebook part 2. It's a follow-up to last week's lesson, and in fact, it's an answer to one of the Tinderbox community members' questions, and namely, John Wilkins asked if he exports an Excel spreadsheet or CVS file out of his school's gradebook and wants to import those student records into Tinderbox. How would he go about doing that and analyzing it? So that is going to be that's what we're going to go over here. And then we're going to provide a bonus part to this lesson too, where I'm going to show you how to actually analyze some of the student grades in what I called method 2 last week. So let's go ahead and jump right in and let me show you. Okay, so here we've got the part 2 simple gradebook, and we have John's sample spreadsheet that he's exported from his school's gradebook. So we'll go ahead and open that, and you'll see he's got the anonymized names 1 through 25 through the students, and the grades 01, 02, 03, 04. Now, if I go ahead and now what I've done is, because I looked at this already, I went ahead and created a prototype and actually manually generated these student grades already. And you'll notice here then, if I drag in this file, okay, you'll then all of a sudden see that the grades are there and they're already populated with the existing attributes. So essentially what Tinderbox will do is, if it matches the column head of the first row of a spreadsheet or CVS file, and those match with an existing prototype in the system, it will automatically populate that prototype with those values. Now let me show you something else that we can do that's really cool. So if I go here and let's say add another grade. Let's go ahead and open up Excel. Come on, there we go. Let's open up Excel, and this time we're going to call it A5. A05, and let's give it 0 grade for everybody, except for, let's say we give number 10, or number 12, 10 points. Okay, and now we hit save. So now we've got a new gradebook, and I'm going to go ahead and now drag this in. Now remember, 05 does not exist as an attribute within Tinderbox. So when I drag this over, you'll see we have the new file here. And when I open it up and look at the students, we also have an automatic attribute that's already been created. So what Tinderbox will do is, when it sees an attribute that it's never seen before in a list, it will automatically generate it, and it will actually assign the appropriate type. If there's a number in there, it's going to guess that it's a number. If it's a text string, it will guess that it's a text string. So you see that it's automatically created that user attribute 05 that didn't exist before. And you'll notice down here that the student number 12 has the 10 points that we talked about before. Now, let me show you what we've done here. If I go to my student method 1B, you'll notice here that as I mentioned earlier, I had already created a prototype for this type of method, and we'll call it method 1B. And I'm going to go ahead and add the 05 prototype that we just, or attribute that we just created, so it shows up there in the list. And likewise, I'm going to modify the edict that I've created. So here you'll see I have an edict that says the total grade equals the sum of those attributes. And so and you'll notice here that I already typed that before when I was preparing the demo, but I'll go ahead and type in here again. I can just do $01 $A05, hit enter, and now it's going to sum up all of those new attributes that we've had. So now watch what's going to happen. The other thing I want to show you too, because I've created this prototype, I'm going to go back and update the spreadsheet. And this time, remember when we talked about before, Tinderbox automatically populates the values of the attributes if they already exist. So I'm going to go ahead and type prototype. And I'm going to enter in our name of our prototype that we want these notes to automatically adopt. So now if I hit save, hit close, and if I drag this over, you'll now see that all of these notes have automatically adopted the prototype, and you notice the edict of this prototype also automatically helps calculate the totals for those students. And you'll see that student number 12 is actually getting the extra 10 points for that note. So you'll see the calculations absolutely working. And so now we can go ahead and change this one to class method 1B. Okay, as an example. So that's another example and a way to be able to administer and manage prototypes. Now you'll notice here, though, this is interesting. Just a quick little note. You'll notice that this prototype has name, full name, email, but these notes don't. And the reason being is when you're bringing in the spreadsheet and applying the prototype, the displayed attributes did not get actually inherited from this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these notes. The prototype for these notes didn't get inherited, because what you can do is you'll go, if I go here, and you'll see if I say displayed attributes, you'll notice what's happening here is the inheritance of prototype was broken because of the way, and broken in the terms that these notes had already been self-modified, and so they're not inheriting the displayed attributes from the prototype, even though we assigned that prototype, because this note has previously had its displayed attributes modified. So if we go and adjust that, and essentially now I'm saying inherit from the note the displayed attributes, and if I hit apply, and you'll go back and you'll see here that now all of these notes have all of the displayed attributes from the prototype. Now the other way to go about doing that, if I hit Command Z to undo that, the other way to go about doing that is you can go ahead and create a stamp as well. So you'll see here, if I have a stamp that just says displayed attributes equals and then the semicolon, what that's doing is that's saying set the displayed attributes for those notes to their default for Tinderbox, and that default in this case would be its prototype. So that would be another method. So there's two ways to get a note's displayed attributes reset to the prototype. One is to go through the quick stamp and have it re-inherit. The other way is to create a stamp that you then can apply to all of those notes. And you just select all of the notes, hit the stamp, hit apply, and so that would accomplish the exact same thing in those two methods. So John, that's one way. Hopefully that makes sense. And to the rest of you in the community, how to import a spreadsheet of student notes into Tinderbox so that you could be able to manage them and interact with them. Now, as I mentioned, the other bonus that I wanted to share with you in this lesson is, if you recall, remember in the method 2, we had all of the individual students here, and you'll see that we have all of the grades for those students as individual notes. And so in this case, I wanted to show you how you could do an analysis of how well are students doing on individual assignments. So in this regard, I created a query, and this query has some really cool things going on it. First of all, I'm saying descended from, and then you'll see I'm saying Q class agent. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm having the query pull the value for where I want it to, what essentially container or class I want it to be pulling the notes from. So I'm essentially I want it to pull all of the students, all of the notes descending from this class, this group here, class method 2. And then I'm saying, and I want you to get all of the types, all of the notes that are type, again, Q item agent. So okay, so all of the notes that are type assignment. And now what I'm saying here is, then the last argument I'm saying is get all of the assignments that are number 1. Now watch what happens if I change this to number 2. You'll see it automatically changed to assignment number 2, and it looked at all the assignments here. And what I have the agent doing is it has its own edict that is adding up all of the results for basically the grades from that. So it's basically counting all of the, essentially let's read here what's going on here. Essentially what I'm saying, having this name this display expression saying, show the name of the type, method 2, the name of the type plus the item number. So that's the method 2 plus assignment 2. And then I'm saying show the average grade, that's in text. And now I'm saying sum all of the children's grade. So sum all of the children's grade attribute, and then divide it by the number of children that are in here. So the number of students that are in this class. And then give it a precision of 1. So 1/10 of a result. And then sum all of the children and the total of points available divided by the number of kids in the class. And so you'll see here then I'm getting an average, essentially, in this case for assignment 2, there's only, because it's green, there's only been one that's graded, but you'll see on average these students are getting 3 out of 10. If we go back and we look at 1, you'll notice here, let's go ahead and have it update. It's now updated, and you'll see these students are getting on an average of 6 out of 10. If I drop this student grade down to 5, we'll force this the agent to update. Okay, you'll see that's 5, and now you'll see there's still 7 out of 10. So the average still hasn't dropped when we lowered that person down that much. If we go down to 3, yeah, okay, so then dropping that person down to 3, you'll see that the grade has even gotten lower. So it's now 6.8 out of 10 that these students are getting on assignment 1. And so this is a really kind of cool way so that you can evaluate how students are doing on individual assignments. In part 3, I'm going to show you how to actually do it, even make even more granular approaches for doing this. For example, not just on assignment numbers, but on assignment types like quizzes and papers and exams and such. And so we'll have by essentially creating prototypes for different assignment types. And that's what we'll show in part 3 of our simple gradebook methodology. So I hope all of you found this of interest and useful. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.